Welcome to episode 4 of Galan Lithium podcast. I'm once again with Ross. Welcome, Ross.
Thanks, JP.
Ross, we have some interesting news that we published yesterday. So we have our due diligence complete and some funding coming up. So could you tell us more about what it was?
Sure, JP. Look, this won't come as a surprise to our investors. This is more or less us executing on what has already been announced. So this is the $20 million placement to a institutional or a financial investor. This is the group Clean Elements. And that transaction had two parts to it. So it was tranche A and tranche B, if you like, or tranche 1, tranche 2. Each delivering the company $10 million, and the tranche 1 will be soon to be delivered within the next 5 business days. So the piece of news which has been disclosed this week is that the transaction is now unconditional, and it will complete in the very near term. So practically, what does that mean? Well, the shareholders voted on Friday of last week and approved all resolutions in relating to the placement. And subsequently, Clean Elements have come through with successful due diligence completion. So it's now unconditional. It's unconditional in respect of tranche 1 and tranche 2. So that means that both will complete. It's just a difference in timing as to when those two tranches will complete. And I'll just probably reflect on what this capital raising does for the company. It's the construction financing that we were seeking for quite a long period of time. It is an essential piece of capital for us to finish the job for phase 1. So allows us through the back end of this year to complete the works that we need to do. Our partner Lithium, who's doing the lithium brine processing for us, will complete their scope, which involves the completion of the nanofiltration technology. Now, they are on schedule. So I'll remind that this second half of the year is when we complete our construction activities. They can complete their construction activities, and we're seeking commissioning of that nanofiltration facility towards the end of this year. We then see the early part of next year as the period of time when we'll get processed brine and then final lithium chloride concentrate in the first half of 2026. So in short, the funding is here, we can execute now, and we're on track to deliver.
That's fantastic news. I feel also very proud and happy where we're at. The team has done an excellent job. We have gone through our due diligence process.
Sure, and I'll jump in, JP, and ask you, because I know you're familiar with the Clean Elements DD process somewhat, and perhaps if you can just share what findings they've disclosed to you on the due diligence process.
Yeah, it's pretty much we got a confirmation of the things that we've been saying about high grade, low impurities, and that we have the best salt flat in Argentina, and they insist that the best salt flat in the world. For the level of impurities and the yield that I can give. In other words, the level of recovery is substantially high, that I could rival the salt flat of Atacama in terms of the recoveries, because this makeshift of low impurities and high grade has a translation of high recoveries per liter. So we have less grade, but that translates of a very productive salt flat, and it can open the doors to furthermore work that we seeing with Lithium. I think that first thing is first. We want to get to production, but I think that there's more to be done and more work from our end that it could benefit the company to be a low cost producer, and even further reduction of cost. So the process, just briefly, the due diligence, Clean Elements, they hire an expert in lithium brine from Chile, and they went to site, they check, they interview the whole team pretty much, but they went to site and saw for themselves what we have, and they came back like really happy, ticking all technical boxes what we have. So in other words, was hand down to a combination of things that we have. We have a good team as well to operate, which is very important. We're going to be a producer soon, so we believe that we have the right team to execute. And we are looking forward to bolting the new technology into Galan and become a producer. So it's a strong combination of having, in my view, the best sulfate in Argentina, the right team, and strengthening the team now with Orthium, and believing that we can do this in a very short period of time in mining terms. So by mid next year, we are thinking that we are going to get our first unit out. So that's for us is very important, and I think that makes a big difference to our peers, our competitors, as why Galan is started differentiating itself from where we were, a position that it was difficult. We've seen that the market is giving these glimpses, but I believe that we turn the corner. Regarding cost, like the things that we're doing now, you must be happy now that we get this funding. And if you could tell us, in your view, why we are so competitive and what makes us different, a different project coming up in online from other competitors in the industry. That if you could just enlighten us a bit more on that.
Sure. Look, it's Galan can't be passive about its position in the market. We have a world-class asset, and that's really important to highlight to investors and listeners. What that means is not just grade, it's not just scale, it's a combination of those two things as well as chemistry. So it gives us the opportunity, the resource, the quality of the resource gives us the opportunity to have a very cost-effective lithium extraction process, which is conventional evaporation. So we're able to do what many others aren't in the brine space, which is rely on just evaporation. We don't need to clean up the brine to get a saleable product, and there's an awful lot of resource there. So that is our distinct advantage relative to other brine operators. But if we look more broadly than that and look across the hard rock space, well, we all know that there's a lot of energy and a lot of cost intensity in those hard rock mining operations. So, drill, blast, load, haul, dump, crush, grind, float, filter. You've got the waste streams, you've got the product stream, and then you've got to get that product to market. And at best, that concentrate stream is 6% as lithium oxide, and our concentrate grade will be more than double that. So, our process is far more efficient to get it to its final state, which is a lithium chloride concentrate, and we've got double the grade that we'll be exporting to Orthium. So that is our distinct advantage. It's why when we do benchmarking and we go out to analysts for benchmarking data, we're commonly right down the bottom end of the cost curve. And you just look next door at Salado and Bromerto. Those peers of ours are operating at a very low cost profile to date, and we'll mirror that, and in some cases might be able to do even better than that. So we're really excited about our position, and what that means fundamentally is a long-term resilient business. So the cycles will come and go, but fundamentally, if we are down the bottom end of the cost curve, we'll be a sustained long-term producer, and that's really what we're focused on here.
Yeah, and it's no coincidence that our big neighbour is Rio Tinto, and they're going all for brines. Indeed.
So that, it is, I think, become very apparent in this market that brines have a distinct cost advantage relative to hard rock producers, and people are voting with their balance sheets now on which projects they want to pursue. So JP, I think that's probably a summary from the cost perspective, but I'll throw back to you if I may, and ask you from a market perspective what you're seeing in market and how that relates to our project and where we are today.
The market is it's been a bit of a yo-yo, and especially the futures. We've seen that the price is goes above and below spot. Spot went up since we started this podcast a few weeks or a couple of months ago. I can't remember exactly when. But we've gone from $7,000-8,000 a ton to 11.5 or thereabouts today. And yes, there is a bit of decline in pricing, but I think that everyone focused too much on the futures and they lose sight that spot. If we were selling at these prices, it'll be an okay price for us. We'll be making money. Like it's it wouldn't be a problem. But 2026 is the year, in my view, that where things are going to start being reflected price-wise in a better light. There's all this noise about Chinese production being halted. There's been noise about demand. Demand remained very strong, but supply, it is hard to see where it's going. But my take is, give another 6 months, and we should start seeing potential price appreciation. My take is that we should be around $12,000 to $15,000 a ton. This should be going up, but the markets are never that logical. The market always the punters jump ahead. So it'll be exciting to see where that lands us.
So it is a volatile market, as you say, and I think the futures in lithium in particular are somewhat notorious for being more of a speculator's type of market. But to summarise, I think what you said there is there's a greater focus on the spot price movement as an indicator of where the market is going.
Correct. Yeah, that's if you want to have a better pulse.
Yep.
Look at the spot. That hasn't fluctuated in the way that the futures are. And look, this is our episode 4. We're halfway through the year, and but if we look back, one of the things that I want to add, let's look back where we started this year and look at all the things that we have achieved, and that where that position us. So, could you give us like a little summary of the main highlights of the year so far? So, because some people forget that this has been a year for us that we've been delivering, and not only to become a producer, but we have milestones also achieved.
Sure. Look, I think that is a very salient point. Looking at share price performance, it's perhaps been flat from where we started the year, but that doesn't really tell the story of how we've progressed throughout the year in terms of project development. And first part of this year was the phase 2 construction permits. So we now have the permits to construct, and that could take us all the way to 21,000 tonne per annum LCE. So that's, for reference, roughly as big as Rio Tinto is in the central part of the Salar today. So it allows us to take a significant step forward, which is a clear major milestone. We updated our resource, so we were, I actually can't remember what the exact grade or percentage increase was, but we're around about 9.5 million tonnes LCE total between Ombra Muerto West and Candelas. So a significant step forward, and in terms of the status, that elevates us into the top 10 of the advanced and producing peers. So really putting us amongst esteemed company. We were able to secure the financing through Clean Elements and Orthium. We were able to lock in the offtake agreement with Orthium. So these are huge milestones for any company entering into the production phase. And then finally, the Argentine RIGI approval, which is also a very value accretive milestone that allows us to enjoy sustained tax advantages and other benefits as we bring the project into production.
Yeah, and there will be the RIGI to us is massive from the financial point of view, and it can expedite things for us in terms of importing things from overseas and not paying taxes on that. But also has it will reflect on a lower capex. Therefore, we'll be even more competitive down the track once we get into our phase 2. So significant milestones are In a different environment, those things would have been per se significant jumps, as you point out. Our share price has been flat, but give it a bit of time. We'll keep pushing our agenda forward into production, and to our viewers, just to stick to us with us. And we are at a point in time that there's plenty of studies showing where companies are in the very point where we are in terms of valuation. They call it the bathtub effect, and we are at the bottom of it. So in the next few months, we are advancing our project. We finished pond number 4. Autumn will come with the plant, and we'll continue into producing concentrate and first sales. So with that, look, we I think that covered most of the things that we need to do today, and we should be updating the market in the near future with another podcast. So I'm JP Vargas de la Vega, Managing Director of Galan Lithium, and with Ross, our CFO, we say thank you.
Thank you.